Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the European crossover webinar, and we'll take a look at we stand here with the euro. It is ECB day, and actually we're a little bit higher. So although relatively quiet, you can see how tight this range is here. And cable is actually a touch bit lower here. Apple saw this gap up here. And Microsoft. So we did see the indices kind of turn around a bit yesterday. We talked about that quite a bit in regards to the profile, where this thing was potentially going to, and S&Ps almost work like clockwork the way that the profile was going. Bear with me. When I look at the news here, as far as economic data, I don't see any economic data here. Did have a French business survey that was about an hour and a half ago. Came in at 104. The forecast was for 99, and then we don't have anything until the ECB, and then in the U.S. at 8:30 Eastern, we do have Chicago Fed activity index along with the weekly jobless claims, and we do have Canadian new housing prices and existing home sales at 10 a.m. Eastern. So we do have some data here because we do have Eurozone consumer confidence. They're expecting a negative 10.8. That comes in at 10 a.m. Eastern. Take a look where we stand here with the indices. We'll take a quick jump there. And we are seeing these pull back just a bit here, but they had a pretty good run here. Look, yesterday was really key. When the one of the things that the S&Ps were open to move higher, you can see here where the and we mentioned that yesterday how the Nasdaq had come down here. We touched this key level. If you look here on the daily, look right there. That was at 13,707. We took it out by a little bit, but you can see it more pronounced on the 2-hour chart. When we took out 13,707, 13,715. But you can see in the S&Ps, it held above that 4106. And that really opened the door for us to move higher. It really looked good pretty much from the get-go. Once we got above 4131, it was just a matter of pressing different levels. We were talking about if it got and held above 4131, we would be able to go and challenge 4141. We saw that. There was a little bit of a back off right before 4140. Got above that and said, hey, that door opens the door now potentially for 4151. We got that. And then as we went up the ladder, 4156. Looks a little bit different because I've got the quotes here, but the reason is I haven't changed anything. I just thought it makes it a whole lot easier, and it certainly does when I just go and put the profiles all on one page. And so I can either rotate real quickly for FX, but I'll have the Nasdaq under, which is generally what I'll use the RTH, regular trading hours, but then also for the expanded electronic session, as well as the S&Ps. This really worked really well yesterday. The profile, once again, RTH, but then here, take a look at this with the electronic trading session here. And you can see that right there. There we go. And you can see that with that actually makes a big difference too. So, although I can always switch up, but go with, to go and put the euro there. But anyway, that's why things look a little bit different. We'll go back. It makes things, also lays things out much easier for me. Switching back, I'm going to take a look with Bitcoin, and it makes it easier also to see right here, jump quickly in between the quotes here. but you can see Bitcoin under some pressure here. And I put in the Asian analysis. I'm still looking for this to break, and certainly we did go on a break here. If you look at it on a daily, look at it, we kind of held the 2 days ago, and then we closed real crappy yesterday, and then opened the door for us to even test even lower today. We did. Still think there's a chance we'll, not chance, but I believe we'll get down and break 50,000, get down to 47,900. We'll get to that. Crude oil continue to see this market drop off yesterday after. Remember, we had the bias chart resistance at 64.24. The high was 64.38, and then we really fell off big time. And I figured they would still see more sell off, and we sure did. And we're even pressing this morning. And gold's been a surprise. Boy, this thing's really hung up there, and actually pressed a little bit higher yesterday. We'll see where we stand here. With that, we'll go on and pull out the old bias chart. And let's go and take a look at the euro. Of course, today's ECB day, but the euro posted a mini hammer after defending the 120. See right there. Support on Thursday will be 1979 with resistance remaining at 2057. That 2057 might be a little bit close considering it's ECB day, but nonetheless, we'll stick with what we had. So once again, 1979. And we're keeping the 2057. Let's go move into the cable. Actually, this makes it pretty easy now. Let's expand out this chart. Keep this all on one page instead of flipping back and forth. On the cable, so the cable, just like the euro, posted a small hammer on Thursday, closing above 39. Support on Thursday will be 38.65 with resistance at 39.77. Trading really a relatively quiet day today also. To the Aussie dollar. So the Aussie challenged 77 on Thursday, or actually meant on Wednesday, before rallying back to close sub 77.58, which is bias chart resistance. For Thursday, the pair will have resistance at 77.72 with support at 77.15. And 77.72. Onto the dollar yen. Now, the dollar yen remained in a confined range on Thursday, hovering just above 108. Support on Thursday will be 778 with resistance at 838. This is really trading tight now. This is going to remain the same, no changes. Let's go and get on to the cash dollar index. So the dollar index attempted to push higher on Wednesday toward 91.50 before falling back to close just above 91. Support on Thursday will be 90.78 with resistance at 91.37. And with that, we'll go move into Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin slid back from 56,000. The crypto is vulnerable. This slide below 50,000 should come sooner than later. Support will be 50,200. Looks like we got to as low as 51,114. Support will be 50,200, followed by 47,800. Resistance will be 55,800. And we can take a look on 2 hour just for a little bit closer. We are looking weak here. A little bit of a hammer here on this dip. And with that, we'll move on to the S&Ps. The S&Ps, after a morning dip on Wednesday, took out 4130 and never looked back, steadily climbing all day. The index challenged the pivot level of 4167. Resistance will be 4162 with support at 4146. You can see that we eventually challenged towards the close is 4167. We did pull back, tried to make another challenge. I did have 4162, but we have to. I was surprised. Thought we might stay a little bit weaker in the Asian session, but we're back up here, so we do have to respect that. So it's going to be back here, which is this is huge at 4167. We'll actually put that for resistance with support. The 4156 may be a stretch now, so we'll have to move this up to 4148. We do make those adjustments if we see a significant difference. So Moving on to the Nasdaq, we've seen a pretty good run here in the Nasdaq. Looked like we may take a pause here at the 50%, but S&P's dragged this thing along and it clipped along. You can see this key area right here. Comes in right there at 13,932. And support on the way back. This is going to be our weak key. 13. That seems a little bit high though. It really isn't that high. It should be right here. 13,860. Doesn't mean we get there today, but that's where the real support is going to be. Challenge. Let's go and move into gold. Gold remains stalwart and may be benefiting from the Bitcoin's technical vulnerability. Resistance for Thursday will be 1803 with support at 1782. It's really done really well. So and can't keep this as bearish anymore. Gotta go with the bullish. There we go. Let's go and move into crude. We've really fallen off from that big move higher. So crude saw a consecutive lower close into the low 61s. Support for Thursday will be 60.42 with resistance at 62.21. Wow, it doesn't look like it's going to get anywhere near 62.21, but 60.42 certainly looks like a possibility. So 60.42. Once again, if you get a move that this is, a little dramatic, is certainly correct considering how far we've fallen, but this much of a move, it's not realistic to say, oh, we'll just keep that 62.21. So where would we see resistance now? Realistically come in. Right there. 61.26. And let's just take a look at the profile, see if we see anything on crude. Here's crude with the RTH. Look at all these points of control right there. Starting down here, that's 60.65. We're at 60.71 right now. So you see there's 60.65 and down here to 60.52. So I like this area right here. Now, of course, this is RTH, regular trading now. I'm going to switch to the one that's full electronic session, but you can see here, right there, 60.65. And right now we're trading 60.69, and the low right now is 60.65. And look at that, a lot of good bevy of support. In the middle, I wanted to take a look at platinum, palladium, and silver. We did good yesterday. Notice how we held that 1189 we talked about. And we said from 2 days ago it had to hold that 1189. I mentioned yesterday we might gun some stocks below, but it's key that we close above. We did. Not only did we close above, we even closed above here. Market's trading a little bit quieter today. Surprised we're not seeing a little bit further follow through. We'll see, but 1189 is still going to be key on the closing basis. But I'm a bit surprised we're not seeing a little bit more follow through, but this is pretty good for that market to hold. Not only did it hold, look, it's a bullish engulfing line. So the door's open for us to at least test right there, which we did at 1220. Right now, the next move is going to be immediately to challenge this high there. 1234, 1232. Take a look at palladium. Wow. Well, we talked about this. We said the next potential is going to be the 161%, and I'll be doggone if it got there. Didn't get there. Look at that, 28.92, right to the pit, right to the tick. So there you go. It did it. Well, you can see the market back down a little bit from there. We'll move on to silver. Nice little run by silver so far. Very nice little run. We'll go across the bodies. That gives you 26.42, and we closed above that level. We're pulling back a little bit, and then the challenge would be right there at the next body right there. Right there. And we came close to closing there. That's 26.85. That we're taking a breather here, not bad. I don't think there's anything wrong there, but the key right now is for this market to get above 26.85. Some pretty good resistance there too. Look here. Look there. See, 26.85. And with that, here's the bias chart. Obviously, a little bit slow today because we do have ECB day. There's the bias chart. We'll get it posted in the chat room, and we'll see you there. And thanks for joining us here on the European Crossover webinar.